You're listening to the Health and Happiness Podcast with Travis Kemper and
Lauren Maxwell. Each episode, we share easy-to-implement strategies to improve your health, happiness, and overall quality of life.
The best way to spread Halloween cheer is to do a podcast for everyone to hear.
I love that, Travis. What a perfect way to start the episode.
If you aren't watching, I am wearing my Halloween costume, and I am Buddy the Elf for Halloween, hence the quote. Last night, boys lost, but they played well. It was a really good team. Our playoff hopes are dwindling. We definitely have to win next week. That's the last week of the season. Unless we make the playoffs, which it does seem like we still have a decent chance if we win next week. I'm making progress on my basement, and I'm getting ready to make my home gym a reality.
Yay!
Very excited. Next week is my last week at my current job. I am so ready for a change.
Oh my gosh, that's right. It's next week already. Yep. Not already, but like finally, I guess.
These last 5 weeks have gone pretty slow, honestly, with that. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. I'm excited for you to be done with this week and
thanks.
On to something new.
I'm excited too, because now I can get back to my lunchtime workouts.
Yay.
Which is always good for my health. How's it going, Lauren?
Well, it's going pretty good. In case you're not watching, I am dressed up as a hobbit for Halloween, which I kind of look like a Jedi. I guess you could mistake either one because it's basically just a cloak, but I do have this really beautiful little leaf embroidered thing on my cloak, which is apparently what hobbits wear. So pretty cool. I'm also getting ready to officiate a wedding tomorrow, because tomorrow is Halloween. What the heck? Holy cow. So that's my morning tomorrow, is officiating a wedding, which is going to be really fun. We are hopefully going stargazing tonight at the little observatory. That's like our date night that we have planned. But the clouds may or may not roll in. So I'm kind of hoping they just stay out until we're done with our stargazing.
That's really bad luck that you might have a cloudy night in Arizona.
I know,
and it's go stargazing,
and it's supposed to be like not a cloud in the sky all day today, and then of course, like we're supposed to go at 9:00, which is past my bedtime, but you know, whatever. And right in the like weather app, it says at 9:00 it's gonna get cloudy.
Oh no!
So I know, maybe that means maybe it won't come as early as 9. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. In other exciting news, I got a snowboard.
All right. You found one up at the
Yeah. I don't know if we talked about that on the podcast. Maybe we did.
I don't know.
But there was a big,
I talked about it.
Yeah, there's a big sale up at the base of Snow Bowl last week. And there were, oh my gosh, it was a huge sale. We saved so much money on boards, boots, and bindings. So nice. Yeah, super excited to go snowboarding more this year.
I'm mostly jealous of snowboarders being a skier, because when you take off your skis, you can't walk normal. It's all goofy. But snowboard boots are like a pair of cozy boots.
Well, they're still pretty stiff.
Yeah, but they're like,
I don't know.
Ski boots do like this. It's like wearing high heels.
Well, that's kind of how snowboard boots are. They're
really?
Angled. They're angled so that you're on your toes. I don't know what ski boots are like. Well, so maybe there is a difference, but
maybe I speak out of ignorance. I don't know. They look more comfortable.
They might be. I feel like they look bigger, like wider, and I don't know. But I've never tried ski boots, so they could be more significantly tilted forward than snowboard boots. I don't know.
I don't know either.
One year we'll have to go together and we'll compare shoes.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll fit right into your shoes.
Oh, that's true. You definitely wouldn't. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today, Travis?
Well, if you haven't noticed, it's that time of the year when it is getting colder, which I like, but the days are also getting shorter, which can have some negative effects on our mental health. So we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah, sounds good. I feel like it kind of ties in pretty well with our recent episode on depression because there is such a thing as seasonal affective disorder, which is a type of depression that commonly begins and ends or reoccurs during the same time of year for those who are affected by the symptoms. So it's very common to have this in the winter months. There is a tendency for it to become more intense as the days shorten and the sunlight lessens during the beginning of the fall, and it can usually last into the spring or early summer. Signs and symptoms of seasonal affective disorder can be depleted energy, moody, tired, great sadness, crying spells, irritability, trouble concentrating, body aches, loss of sex drive, poor sleep, decreased activity level, overeating, especially of carbohydrates associated with weight gain. A lot of articles that I read noted especially of carbohydrates, and I feel like that's just like this is the season of like the pasta and the all of that kind of stuff. I don't know.
And Thanksgiving and Christmas and
Halloween. Lots of
eat sugar.
Lots of carbs.
Yeah.
What are the causes of seasonal affective disorder, Travis?
Lack of serotonin, which is the happy hormone and is affected by the amount of sunlight on any given day. So basically, lack of sunlight can at least contribute to this. Levels of serotonin are higher on bright sunny days than on cloudy ones. Therefore, a sunny day increases this natural antidepressant in the brain, and a reduction in sunlight can cause a drop in it. When the days shorten, our brains produce more melatonin, making us feel tired, helping us sleep more, but not helping us feel better. The release of this sleep hormone is tied to sunset. So when the sun sets earlier, our body may want to go to bed earlier. Effects of melatonin eventually wear off if we don't actually go to bed. So by the time we do try and go to sleep, we may have gotten a second wind, which may then cause us to stay up later than we normally do. And paradoxically, we get less sleep, even though we find ourselves more sleepy. That's an awful
cycle
chain of events.
Yeah,
cycle.
No kidding.
Risk factors for seasonal affective disorder are being female. Apparently, being a woman makes you 4 times more vulnerable than being a man, but men may have more severe symptoms, which is a weird
That's very interesting. Yeah.
Age is a risk factor. Specifically, young people at least 23 years old. The average age of onset for winter seasonal affective disorder. It's less likely to occur in older adults. Family history, no surprise there. There's links. Having clinical depression or bipolar disorder is correlated with seasonal affective disorder. Usually your symptoms will worsen in the winter. And living far from the equator has a greater negative effect, probably due to the decreased sunlight during the winter and longer days during the summer months.
Well, that makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Like parts of Alaska that have 23 hours of daylight in the winter, or in the summer, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And none in the winter, or one.
I just can't even imagine living in a place like that. I don't know.
You have to have a serious system. I've talked to a couple people at different conferences and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like one of the ladies was a psychiatrist that lived in, I forget where in Alaska, but where she was, it was approximately 3 hours of daylight a day in the winter. And I said, how the heck do you deal with that? And she said, I have a system. She said, I have a whole system with tanning beds and light therapy and all of this stuff that she does for herself to keep herself safe.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you would have to. I just being in Arizona my whole life, living only in Arizona, I can't imagine that. We have so much sunlight here, and especially like in Phoenix, it's just sunny all year round. Like Flagstaff has more season than I had ever experienced before. So I
Yeah,
just can't even imagine like what it
it,
would feel like to have 3 hours of sunlight.
the days of sunlight is actually the number one reason we're in Colorado and not Montana right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
makes sense.
because northern Montana was the place that I really, really wanted to go, but we were really scared of the days of sun there. Yeah.
How many days of sun did they have there?
Like 150 versus we were coming from Arizona, which
Right.
has about 300.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
half, and then
Yeah.
we kind of split that in half, and I think we're around 225.
Yeah, I would pick Colorado then too.
That's why we're here.
I think I would be too scared. Yeah.
Yeah.
So seasonal affective disorder affects about 5% per year of the US population and up to 10% in northern latitudes. But symptoms are present for about 40% of the year. That's almost half the year.
Well, yeah, you figure, I mean, it starts in autumn and ends in spring.
Yeah, that's true.
So
there is no evidence in children 6 to 15 years old,
which is weird.
Really strange. And that makes me really wonder why, like, what is the difference at like after 15? Like what changes in our brains that like, because from what we were talking about earlier, right? It sounds like it's all related to, or not all related to, but can be highly related to a lot of the hormone and endocrine system and
in the sunlight. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, how does that change after 16? That's so
and
strange.
Not affect kids. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
How weird.
They're just so excited for Christmas every year.
Maybe.
And then they're so excited about the snow.
Yeah, maybe. And I mean,
these are all theories that have no backing in science.
I mean, that's
as
fine.
far
We
as I
can
know.
still postulate. But I remember even like as a kid, like, well, okay, I didn't really experience any cold weather because again, I grew up in Phoenix. But like, I remember specifically, like as a kid, I had no concept of like heat or like extreme temperatures or anything like that. Like we played out in 120 degrees for recess and for school. Like we were always outside in the summer, and it just like, it wasn't until I got older that I started being aware of the fact that like, this is gross and I don't want to be outside. But like, maybe that is correlated somehow with like, you just, as a kid, you just
take it as it comes and you don't worry about it.
Yeah. Kids are so resilient anyway.
Yeah.
So we did find a study that looked at whether people living in the subarctic had more sleeping problems or mental distress during the winter. It was a cross-sectional study in North Norway, and the study included entire birth cohorts and random samples of the population aged 30 to 87 years. They found no significant differences in the reporting of current mental distress depending on the season, but they found significantly more reported current sleeping problems and insomnia in the winter than in the other seasons, and less sleeping problems were found in the spring.
Interesting. So treatment options: get some more sun during the days. Getting more sun can make you more happy. And it's pretty easy to get depending on where you live. Get outdoors in the natural daylight. Try to get a brief lunchtime walk in. I do this a lot when I'm working at an office barn at lunch. I just go for a walk at least 3 days a week.
Yeah, that's
a walk
great.
or a run outside. Make sure your workplace and home are as light and airy as possible.
Yeah, and open your curtains and let sunlight in as early as you possibly can. A lot of the stuff that we read was basically like, let sunlight in as soon as you get up. And I'm like, well, that's kind of the problem though, because when I get up, it's like pitch black until like 3 or 4 hours later.
I mean, already
most
people get up. I've been, if you haven't noticed, my voice is kind of gravelly. I've had a cold this week, so I was sleeping in. And
Mhm.
I was sleeping until 7 and it's still pitch black
Is
at
it
7 o'clock.
really? In
Yeah.
Colorado, it's still pitch black. Ours comes up around 6 or 6:30 right now in Arizona.
Oh no, we're completely black at 7.
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
It's starting to light up at 7:15, like it's that before the sun's up, because I live in a canyon. So like the it's lighting up, but the sun hasn't been hitting us yet.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts. So I guess that begs the question, what the heck do you do if you just really don't have a whole lot of sunlight?
Expose yourself to bright light. So there's light treatment and light boxes, which I looked up because I had no idea what they looked like. They look like an iPad that's just got a bright light.
Yeah, it's not an actual box. Travis and I both pictured like putting yourself in a box full of light and like immersing your body. It's not like that.
Yeah, I totally thought it was going to be like you wrap a blanket of light around you, or like you get into like a sauna and it's light. But no, it's just a bright light. And they say you should use the light treatment should be used daily in the morning and the evening, approximately 30 minutes a day. And the light must sufficiently brighten, approximately 25 times as bright as a normal living room light.
That's bright.
That's a lot brighter. Yeah.
It's a lot brighter.
And like I said, these are not that expensive. So if you're suffering from this, you can probably make this work. I saw them from $50 to $300. Now, I did not do any research on like, are those $50 ones totally junk and just not, they're not really going to give you any benefits. I didn't look at that at all.
Yeah.
I just did a quick Google search for, how much do these things cost?
Yeah.
On Psychology Today, they recommend using the light box for 30 minutes in the morning and another 15 to 30 minutes late in the day, between 5 and 7. Basically, they're saying that will allow your body to reacclimate after the sun goes down and not produce that melatonin that makes you sleepy.
Right.
To avoid the sleeping problems that you can get with that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are some possible side effects with the light therapy, including irritability, insomnia, headaches, and eye strain. They do tell you to use this with your eyes closed.
Yeah, which I thought was really interesting and confusing.
Well, I mean, if you've ever looked at a light bulb, it kind of hurts your eyes.
Well, right, but I kind of assumed you would like set it up in front of you, but like not look at it. Like directly, like have it like in the room and then like brighten up the room, but like not.
Well, I assumed you were wrapping it around yourself, so
I guess all of our assumptions were off base here. Yeah. So there was a 2005 meta-analysis on light boxes that Travis found because we were just so curious about light boxes because we don't know anything about them. So it had 8 studies in this meta-analysis that showed significant reduction in depression severity associated with bright light treatment and dawn simulation, which is another thing I think we're going to talk about in a little bit in seasonal affective disorder. Bright light for non-seasonal depression was not effective in 5 studies. So this really is just associated with the seasonal, like the sunlight.
Yeah, I was a little surprised about that, honestly, because usually, you find like we'll go over some of the other treatments and stuff, but exercise works, right? Antidepressants.
For lots of things.
Yeah. But it works for depression and it works for seasonal affective disorder. So I was a little surprised that just getting more light wasn't going to help with regular depression. But these studies said that it does not. It only helps with the seasonal affective disorder, which points to it is a problem with the seasons and having less natural light.
Yeah. Pretty interesting. Some of the other treatment ideas, this one kind of made me giggle because this is definitely not a possibility for everybody. But it said changing locations. temporarily to a climate or place that is characterized by bright lights, such as Arizona or I guess Florida.
Yeah, and you say it's definitely not for everybody, but it's a lot bigger population than you think. I think that Phoenix's population increases by 1 million people every winter.
Oh yeah, I mean,
So that's a 20% increase.
It's definitely a big percentage, and in Fountain Hills, where I grew up, it was like you saw it massively. It was a massive amount of people who all of a sudden came to Fountain Hills.
Right.
And that was the part of the year that all of us who actually lived in Fountain Hills hated, because we just had all of these like snowbirds on the road all the time.
More traffic, yeah.
And like Fountain Hills is the laziest town that I have ever, like, lazy in the sense that like there's not a lot of people on the roads. There's just like not like people are, I guess, not lazy because you're like walking more, but it's just a slow, sleepy town. So there's just not a lot of people all the time. But then when the snowbirds come, you're like, what the heck are all these people doing on the road? Oh my gosh, get off the road. Anyway.
Yeah, so other treatments, typical antidepressants and stimulants can be used. But those who suffer with bipolar disorders may have a manic episode with antidepressants. Oh. So yeah, apparently that's a problem.
I did not know that.
Yeah, good thing we don't prescribe.
Yeah, I'll leave that to somebody else.
Exercise. It's the natural leading alternative method for depressive disorders. This one is not a surprise. We've talked about this on several episodes. Exercise releases endorphins that elevate mood and self-esteem, decrease stress, increase energy level, and improve sleep. Engaging in just 30 minutes of activity 3 to 4 times a week can elevate your heart rate, which is greatly beneficial.
Yeah, that's awesome. Exercise. I feel like we come back to this conclusion almost every episode, but exercise, nutrition, and sleep. Really huge, like the big three. That's what I'm going to call them, the big three. This article also talked about John's wort, which I have never heard of. It is an herbal supplement that has been found to be a potential help for mild depression. Of course, check with your doctor first, because I know nothing about this, so I am not advocating for it, but yeah, have discussions about other things that you can try. One of the things that made me really excited that was in this article showed pet treatment relieves stress by providing love and companionship. So research shows that with animal-assisted therapy, or that animal-assisted therapy can also decrease agitation that often goes with depression. I love that.
I, as a puppy owner and puppy lover, would not recommend that if you were depressed, you go get a puppy. I think you should go find a friend with a puppy, and you go and play with their puppy and cuddle with their puppy, but it doesn't bark at you when you sit down to rest.
Yeah.
Just my perspective.
I would agree with that, because they are a lot. Puppies are, especially the puppies we have, they are a lot. If you really want to get a puppy, if you really want to get an animal, get like a senior animal.
Yeah, find Sable.
Well, Sable was like the most unique, special dog I've ever met. Yeah. But there are so many like senior animals who are looking for homes because people,
they don't get adopted.
Yeah, and like that would be the perfect opportunity, because they're often like lower needs, as far as like activity level and stuff like that. And they're not gonna like bark at you and stress you out.
Yeah. Another one is, shockingly, meditation and focused breathing can help. Another one we've talked about a lot on the podcast. Meditation, focused breathing, it's a stress management technique, can be done in many ways and is used to successfully treat and prevent high blood pressure, heart disease, migraine headaches, diabetes, arthritis, depression. It helps with obsessive thinking, anxiety, depression, hostility. With time and practice, levels of relaxation deepen and your attention becomes steadier. If you're not meditating, whether you have seasonal affective disorder or not, you should probably start meditating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we may have an episode coming up about this cool new thing that I am using to help myself with focused breathing and meditation. Yeah.
Yeah. New technology.
New technology. Super excited about it.
Mom's busy. Another one we've talked about a lot on the podcast is sleeping. Get a good night's sleep. That sleepy feeling you get during the winter doesn't always mean you should sleep more, but you do need to aim for, 7 to 9 hours is basically what they say. Wake up at the same time each day so you don't disturb your circadian rhythm even more. If you sleep too much, though, you might feel even more sluggish during the day.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I've had days where I've slept too much and I'm like, this is almost worse than not sleeping enough, in my opinion.
I would agree for me. Yeah. And mine anymore. It's ever since I turned like 26, 27. If I get up at a significantly different time, it really messes with my body. Mm-hmm. So I'm better off getting less sleep and still getting up at the same time every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have issues with sleeping, I mean, there's a lot of solutions. We talked about sleep in another episode, but this article specifically talked about taking melatonin as a dietary supplement to help you get sleepy. And there's they're really low doses of melatonin, which if that works for you, that's a great way to get tired at the right time. Another thing they talked about, which we mentioned earlier, was a dawn simulator, which it uses a timer activated light to mimic sunrise, which helps to stimulate the body's clock, which I kind of assume that this is like the alarm clock that I have that like you can set for the alarm. The alarm gets brighter before the alarm even goes off. So it like mimics the sunrise before your alarm wakes you up, so that like you're still getting that light input through your eyes before you even wake up.
That is what they're talking about. Sorry, okay. I just looked it up real quick. However, I'm wondering if, because that thing just wakes me up. It doesn't like make me wake up. It doesn't make me feel good when I wake up. I'm wondering if it would be more effective with one of those really bright lights for the light therapy. Yeah. To have on a timer with a dimmer switch.
Yeah.
Now I'm interested.
You could do that like in the morning to wake up to and at night to like go to sleep to.
Yeah. I'm wondering.
Not go to sleep to, but like,
Well, my alarm clock has that option too. Like
mine does too. Timer. The like sunset.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so there's also psychotherapy, obviously. Talk therapy should be a part of the treatment process in combination with other listed options. Dance and movement therapy also refers to a broad range of Eastern and Western movement approaches used to promote physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. You can also try and find social support groups. Good relationships and social support can be an important part of maintaining a better mood during the season and lessens feelings of being alone and alienated, which are usual with depression.
Yeah, basically to sum up, I mean, lots of treatment options, but again, trying to maintain an overall healthy lifestyle to minimize symptoms of seasonal affective disorder, such as having a healthy diet consisting of lean protein, fruits and vegetables, regular exercise and sleep. Those are your big three that you can, for the most part, pretty easily do. You don't have to put like a whole lot of extra effort into, like, you can start there. If you need somewhere to start there.
Lauren.
Yes.
One thing that I do not think we have talked about on this podcast yet, but I find tremendous benefits from is saunas. I love saunas. I also love candy canes, candy corns, and syrup.
Well, you are Buddy the Elf, so that makes a lot of sense to me.
I know, I needed to add a buddy joke. So saunas are something that I've not done near as much research, but I have a lot of experience with. I sauna almost every day.
Wow.
Yeah, for 15 to 20 minutes. And I love them. that will be in my home gym. I don't know if it'll be right away, but it will be in my home
Nice.
gym. Anyway, so I wanted to see if saunas can help here. So there's a lot of anecdotal evidence that infrared saunas can help, because not only do they do the sauna part, which gives you the benefits of the heat and just warming up your body and everything like that, but they also do light. So they also give light. So there's lots of anecdotal evidence. I can't find any studies that support sauna for seasonal affective disorder. However, there are plenty of studies that show that saunas help with general mood disorders, psychological disorders. So just something to think about. There was one study that we looked at that was 25 years long, with 2,138 men ages 42 to 61 who were free from any apparent mental illness at baseline. They completed a self-administered health and lifestyle questionnaire for the assessment of age, smoking, alcohol consumption, level of physical activity, baseline diseases, and medication history. Participants were classified into 3 groups based on the frequency of sauna bathing: once, 2 to 3 times, or 4 to 7 times per week. They found the frequent sauna bathing is strongly associated with decreased risk of psychosis in a middle-aged male population, and it's a recommendable habit that is well tolerated and safe activity for most people, and even patients with stable cardiac disease. There's actually a bunch of studies that show that it improves cardiac disease.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, but I thought that was interesting. Yeah, there's tons of health benefits to it. We should probably do an episode on it, just because
I would love to learn more about it. I know nothing about, I've never been in a sauna. I don't know anything about it.
Well, also, they're fairly accessible.
Yeah.
So by fairly accessible, I mean, here you have to pay over $100 a month to go to a gym that has a sauna. In Flagstaff, you probably have to pay like $60 to go to a gym with a sauna. In bigger cities like Phoenix, the $20 gyms have saunas.
Wow.
So yeah, so they're pretty accessible. Like I don't remember any of the names of the gyms in Phoenix, so there goes that. EOS Fitness or something like that. Yeah, they're all over the place in the Phoenix area.
Okay.
And they all have saunas. And I think the last time that I was a member there, it was, I want to say it was $15 or $20 a month.
Yeah, I remember it because one of my best friends goes to the EOS gyms, and I remember her saying it was like pretty cheap.
Yeah, they're slightly more expensive than Planet Fitness, but they give you a sauna and they don't, make alarms.
And it's a nice
make
gym.
Any noise.
It's a nice gym.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. I was FaceTiming her while she was working out one time, and I was like, "Hey, I want to see your gym. Can you show me?"
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're really nice places. I was very happy when I went there. Anyway, so that pretty much does it for this episode. So if you're experiencing seasonal affective disorder because there's less sunlight every day now, try and do some things that will help it, like we covered in this episode. This was fun. We'll talk to you next time.
See you next time. Happy Halloween. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to listen to this episode of the Health and Happiness Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode and are getting benefits from our content.
If your life is improving in part due to the information in this podcast, we would greatly appreciate you sharing the episode with your family and friends on social media and leaving us a review so we can continue to reach more people and improve the health and happiness of the community at large.
Thanks again, and we will see you next week for another episode of the Health and Happiness Podcast.